All right, good morning. Thank you guys for being here. No, you guys that are watching can't see me, but I'm Ellen Kreth, and I'm here with Shannon Hahn, our general manager, and we are going to discuss the issues facing Madison County for our contested Justice of the Peace court election. The primary is May 24th, and these are our Republican candidates in the primary. And so I'm going to just go ahead and let you guys introduce yourself for a minute and tell the community a little bit about yourself, not too much because we've written profiles of you, and then we're just going to jump right in and we're going to start asking questions. So Luke, I'm going to let you start us off in alphabetical order, so you go first.
Well, my name's Luke Dobson. I grew up in Madison County. I went to high school here, got my high school degree obviously, and from there I went to Harrison, Arkansas, got my associate's degree, and went to the University of Arkansas and got my degree in agriculture education. I taught high school for 5 years in Phoenix, Arizona, and Springdale, Arkansas, and now I currently live towards Marble, and where I have a wife and 2 kids. And I've been JP for 1 term, and something interesting about my family is my grandfather was sheriff here. He was elected in 1928, and he caught 2 sets of bank robbers, and he got reward money for that, and that's kind of how my family bought the farm a long time ago. So
That's interesting. Okay.
That is.
James?
First of all, thanks for having us. Appreciate this. Appreciate the forum. My name is James Eaton. I guess I'm going to be a JP to get into public service, so I guess I could start with a public service announcement. I recently had skin cancer on my ear. I had to have a skin graft, so please forgive the bandages, but the doctor seemed to think I should have them on for a few days. So anyway, with that, James Eaton, born in Hinesville Hospital, went to high school. Yeah, one of the, I don't know, not too many people have that. Still born in Hinesville Hospital. Went to St. Paul 13 years. Arkansas Tech 4 years after that. Lived in Conway, coached basketball there at Hendrix College, and did some other things there, sports information director, assistant athletic director there. After 6 years there, I got in insurance in Conway. Then I chose to buy a business here in town. So, and I've been here since 1999 running that business. So, been on various commissions, boards, everything from youth soccer, youth baseball, basketball, the library board, economic development commission, remember the Huntsville Lodge, Lions Club, Kiwanis Club. So I think I've hit about all the civic organizations in town at some point. So I have 4 kids. The oldest is 23, the youngest is 12. One's some of their milestones. My son's graduating from college this year, daughter from high school, 2 younger ones after that. And I think my grandpa came here, my great-great-grandpa, he wasn't famous for anything really, but he ended up homesteading a place that's about probably 5 miles from where I live now. And I live in Kingston, Arkansas, married to Jennifer Fitch.
Great. Okay, thanks. Well, we're going to jump right into the questions, and James, we're going to go first.
Okay.
We've started us off. The first question is, discuss the need for a jail and how to pay for it.
Well, how to pay for it. I think the need's there. I think every candidate you're going to talk to is going to say we have a need. If you've traveled around, or no one in the county, everyone in the county knows someone's had something stolen from them if they haven't had themselves. You see the rampant drug problems all over the county. I think that's almost a given. Anyone's going to agree with that. How to pay for it's going to be a different thing. I think that's going to be a lot of work from the JPs. My understanding is they came back with about a $16 million price tag on a jail. And from all indications, it's probably going to take, if you go the sales tax route, 1 penny is going to roughly generate $1 million. I know it's generated 1.9 last year, but you have to be conservative. As we all know, the economic times aren't great right now. So typically, as the economy takes a downturn, you're going to spend less in purchases, which is going to drive our sales tax down. So I'm not sure how much they're going to have to ask for. I don't know how much we're going to have to put toward a down payment on a jail. So I do think there's going to be a lot of things to do. I think the very next step would be, if they haven't already addressed it, would be talking to a bonding agency to see what we can afford. what kind of time frame you're talking about, and also with the Fed talking about raising the interest rate 3 to 4 times this year. The quicker we get that done, the better, because our interest rates are going to go up. They're historically low and have been for a while, but those are going up, so that'll be important to get that, to move on that soon, I think.
Okay. Luke?
Well, I think jail is very important. I think people in the county are ready to support it. And it basically comes down to, it's gonna take a tax to pay for it, and whether people are gonna support paying that tax and want a jail that bad. And that's basically what it comes down to. And the jail that we looked at, the blueprint, was around $16 million, but now we've kind of got a land issue to where we're gonna have to look at some different land sites to buy as well. Another thing with the jail is to staff it is gonna be more expensive actually than to pay for it, so. But I support a jail. I think we need one. I don't know how much we can afford. I don't know how much people are willing to vote for it, to support it, but that's a thing that we need to figure out as JPs is, should we build a bigger one? Should we build a smaller one? And there's a bunch of different factors when it comes to how nice it is and if we put the sheriff's office in there and different things like that. But we've looked at every possible thing so far that we've been given to us. But yeah, I think we need one, we support one, and it's just gonna come down to whether people vote to support the tax to pay for it. So.
If I could add one thing in with that, I know we have spent over $2 million the last 4 years in just the housing of prisoners. So that's counting nothing toward transport, lost opportunities for our police to be here to give us better protection. It's just, so, and one of those years was a COVID year, which our numbers were quite a bit lower. I think we were over 700,000 last year in the housing of prisoners. And if we can't house in the counties next to us, that number's just gonna go up.
Well, that's a good segue into this next question. And crime seems to be on the rise in Madison County. And how can the county get more deputies on staff? And what would you do to ensure that they stay on the job locally? We'll start with you.
Well, we, as JPs, we voted to support a raise for our police department. And I think they don't get paid enough still, honestly. I would support another raise if we could afford to give them one. Because we do need we need deputies to stay here. We need good deputies to pick from when we hire them. And what else did you ask? I forgot the end of the question.
Yes, so about crime being on the rise, and how can the county get more deputies on staff, and what would you do to ensure that they stay on the job here locally?
Okay. Well, just like I said, just make sure we pay them. I think that we're not real high on the pay list here in Madison County as far as if you're a cop. You can go to Washington County and get a better paying job. I think we need to compete more with the pay if we can somehow do that without raising taxes for our deputies. And crime is on the rise. My father and my uncle, they actually had a welder and their barn broken into about 3 or 4 months ago and had a bunch of stuff stolen. So we definitely need to do something about it, and I would support giving, like I said, the police department and cops a raise if we could do without raising taxes. So.
Okay. I can read the question again, or?
Sure, please.
Okay. Crime seems to be on the rise in Madison County. How can the county get more deputies on staff, and what would you do to ensure that they stay on the job locally?
Sure. I think those are problems that are obviously, and look at a good answer on that, I think. We have to be equitable in our pay. I think the city pays more, so why wouldn't you literally walk across the street and get a different car? You're doing the same thing, just staying local versus more out of the county. So we have to have more equitable pay. We just do. Also with that, we only have 9 deputies on staff now. I think realistically we need 20, according to the sheriff. Candace, I don't study those things. They seem to think that would be about the minimum we need to operate efficiently and effectively. So with 9 people in the county, if our deputy is at Patrick and we have a problem in Marble, that is an hour driving time. That's really not acceptable. So I think we certainly need to look at every avenue we can to keep our people, get better people, and hire more of them,
Okay.
so.
And I would like to add on to that. You know, this jail and the crime rate and all this stuff, it's a major topic, and we spend a lot of money, you know, or we're gonna spend a lot of money on a jail, but compared to what we've been budgeting, we budget right now $50,000 a month to house prisoners, and that's kind of what we stay at, but we're gonna have to staff a jail with roughly 20 to 25 more people. And then if we go out and hire more law enforcement on top of that, I mean, it is a sticky subject and it's expensive to pay people. So that's something that we need to look at and do something about, but it's gonna cost a lot of money. And people need to understand that jail is not going to be cheap. I'm gonna support it and I'm willing to pay the tax on it. But for what we've been budgeting, it's peanuts to what it will cost to build it and staff it in reality.
I'm gonna go off script here for just a minute and ask a follow-up question for both of you. The last time that Madison County looked at a tax for a jail, it lost by 52 to 48%. Pretty close, really. Would you have been as outspoken for a jail during the last election as you are now?
Are you going to me?
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't, for some reason, I've just never thought about it as much as I have here recently. And I don't know if it's because my father got his stuff broke into and stolen, but I would have supported it, but now I feel like it's I feel like we got to get something done. Because even if we do pass this tax, it's going to be 2025 before the jail's built and running. So, but I would have supported it. I just feel like now it's time to do it now. So.
I think that's kind of the consensus in the county. Some people wanted a jail last election, and I think this time they feel like they need a jail. So, and I think it's traditionally been about 52-48 against. A couple of times we've tried to pass a tax, so you know, you're talking 3% change their mind, you win.
Okay.
And something else important about that is, if we pass a tax to build a jail, we still have to pass another tax to staff it. So we actually have to support two separate taxes, you know, to do it. So, and it's important that everybody knows that, and that's why it's important to decide how big a jail we want. Because the bigger it is, the more staff you gotta pay, and it just costs more. So we don't wanna build one too big to where people's like, they don't want to support that big of a tax, and so if we have to, you know, go down a little bit so it's a little bit cheaper, a cheaper tax is more apt to get passed than a higher tax, and we'll still get a jail, maybe not as big as we want, but so we got to present one we can afford and one that people can afford on the taxes, and one that will work also. So that's important.
Okay.
Okay, I have a newly eligible voter in my household. Why should your election be important to them? We'll start with you, because I think you started.
This election? Sure. I think the JP should be important to them because I feel the JP should be helping or giving direction to the county judge, looking over the county budget and giving advice to him, or her. It'd be him in this case, but it should be giving advice to the county judge and helping with those things. I would say would be the reason you should vote for me.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
I have a newly eligible voter in my household. Why should your election be important to them?
Well, this election is very important, and as far as being a JP is, and I didn't really realize this until I got elected, it's one of the most important positions in the county. We vote and make decisions on things that nobody else does, and so a JP is one of the most important, responsible positions in our county. And I think that the person in your house who's going to vote, or is a new voter, needs to get out and vote, because you know this is a very critical time in our county. There's a bunch of major decisions as far as taxes and different things that are going to happen, and that's what I would say. It's just, you know, where if you're going to live here in this county long term, this election is very important to vote
Next question. Rural water remains a big issue, especially in the Hinesville area. How should the Rural Water Board proceed to see that more water is available in that area? And what can the quorum court do to support their efforts? We'll start with you since we started with James.
Well, I would support any rural water things that are going on, rural water projects. I supported the Mount Olive Water Association when they came and asked. They had a $12 million project going on, and I was actually the one to make the motion to help them get financing, because I grew up in a house without rural water, and if anybody's never had it, it's a very big blessing to have rural water. We grew up on a well to where it went dry all the time. We had to share bath water, and so getting people rural water is very important to me, and it also helps the value of the land that when it gets rural water on it. And I might be mistaken, I might misspeak here, but I know the water board has met, and they are doing a $10 million. They're doing a $10 million project to buy 2 new filters so that we can get more rural water in the county. So, and I don't know the details on that, but that is what I have been told. But I would support if the county could do it without raising taxes. In any rural water projects, I would 100% support if we could do it without raising taxes.
Okay, rural water, sure, everybody would love to have it. It's extremely expensive, and quite frankly, it's unaffordable for us. And I also grew up without water. I get that. Very few people in the south part of the county, especially around me, have had water. It was great when water came through there a while back, but that has to be government funded also. We have to have help from DC. That has to be national money somehow, because like the recent project you're talking about, they're going to be out over about $50,000 for each tap. It's a huge number, isn't it? So I can't ask you, Miss Water User, to pay $50,000 up front for your water tap. That's not affordable. So you have to have federal funding on that. You can't raise enough taxes to generate that kind of revenue.
So back to that project just a minute. It was Mount Olive, and they came to the quorum court meeting, and they asked for how much money?
Well, they came there 2 different times, and the first time they asked for $300,000 to $500,000. We all voted it down, and then the second time they came for $100,000.
Okay.
And you know, it would be nice to get federal funding to get rural water for people, but we don't have it. And so I had the opportunity to try to help some good citizens in this county get water, and I supported it, and I do the same thing over again. We had the money that was actually federal funded money from the ARP money to use on that, and I gladly make a motion to do that.
Yeah, I think that actually came out as, they asked for $150,000, I think, and I think there was some talk of $50,000. I think you offered to give them $100,000, if memory serves.
I think
No, they asked for $300,000 to $500,000 the first meeting. The second meeting they came, and they might have asked for 150. They said 100 or 150, and so I made the motion to do 100,000. I knew some people, and people did vote. Some people did vote against it, but I knew 150. Probably everybody would probably vote against it, so we did 100, and then it got through. And hopefully, those people in the southern part of the county get rural water, and it works out good for them.
You know, I'm all for people in the southern part of the county or any part of the county getting water, but I would not have voted for the additional $50,000, because that was just in kind money given to Mount Olive, and they're asking for was it $10 million grant in the first place? So them offering the difference in the $975,000, 9.7, almost 10 million and 10 million is irrelevant. So I would see that we just gave them $50,000 for no additional goodwill.
And I think when you talk about goodwill, just to explain to the people that are watching, I think they had to show that they had some local support in order to obtain maybe more funding.
Yes,
Is that correct?
That's correct.
So when you talk about in kind, that's what you
That's
speaking
correct.
about.
And like I said, they wanted, I think the first time they came, they wanted 300,000 or more. And so we didn't give them the full amount, but anything that, like I said, anything that we could do or I could do to show my support, I would gladly do that. And like I said, that money was That was ARP money, that wasn't county tax dollars, and it actually was federal money given to us.
And when you say ARP money, it's the American Rescue Plan
Yes, that's
Act.
correct,
Okay,
yeah.
correct. Just want to clarify for people.
But
who
to
are watching.
clarify on that also, my stance would be, that was our $50,000 to do with as we chose at that point. It was coming to us, we had control of the funds at that point.
Okay.
Okay. This question has actually come in a few times. And I'm lost on who starts, so I apologize. Who answered the last one first?
I think I did.
Okay. Should the quorum court pass resolutions pertaining to pro-life issues, critical race theory, and other similar issues? Where do we separate national issues and our local issues for the quorum court?
Sure. I'm not sure why we would pass either resolution. I don't know that we have any facilities performing abortions in the county. And I don't know of any place that we have control over that are teaching or dealing with the critical race theory. We don't have any say-so whatsoever in our school districts. Good, bad, indifferent. That's not really what we're paid to do. That's not really in our. We could also send money to the Ukraine if we felt that call, but that's not what the quorum court's supposed to be doing, in my opinion.
Can you repeat the question for me?
Yes.
I've been knocked out too many bulls, sorry.
It's totally normal too, because then you get lost in the other respondent's question. Should the quorum court pass resolutions pertaining to pro-life issues, critical race theory, and other similar issues? Where do we separate national issues and our local issues?
Well, we passed a resolution to support the Second Amendment a few months ago, and first off, it's a resolution, it's not an ordinance. This resolution is not a law. It's not going to stop any kind of clinic coming into Madison County doing anything. It's not going to stop any abortions. It's a resolution proclaiming that our county's majority supports life instead of abortion. And so it's, like I said, it's not an ordinance. It's not going to stop anybody from doing anything. But as a county, collectively, it shows our support towards life, towards babies, but also towards elderly people that have problems. That can't take care of themselves. So I still support the pro-life resolution that I sponsored, and I'm proud of that. I don't think, and if somebody disagrees with it, that's fine. But people in my district, where I represent, supported that, and I sponsored it and proud of it, and as a personal stance, I agree with it. So.
I guess the only thing I would say is, while that may or may not be my personal stance on either side of it, that's just my political stance. This subject is close to me. I'm not going to share my personal feelings with you, but most of you know my family history and those things. So, with that said, that's just my stance on, you ask, we're divided politically. And I think that's where, I think our local politics should stay local. I don't think we should jump into national politics. I don't think that's what we're elected to do.
And I'll disagree with that. I think that we should locally be proactive, and I think that, we do need to get involved. I think that there's a lot of decisions and things that are going on in this world, in this country, that are turning, and I do think that our county should be proactive, and I think that we should be involved on just as equal as a national level.
Okay. If you lose the election, will you continue to work to pass bonds to pay for the jail and its maintenance and operation?
Yes, absolutely. It's needed.
And of course I would support the jail whether I'm not elected again or not. I think that we need it, like I said, and I'll gladly pay any tax to support that jail. We have to be careful it's not too high of a tax so the jail doesn't pass. We need to get something, and I will continue to do all that I can to support that and work towards that.
Okay. And the last, we'll start with you. Look, this is the closing statement, and just why should I vote for you?
Well, I think you should vote for me because, for one, I try to be a good person. I care about people. I will listen to people's questions. If someone disagrees with me, I'll gladly listen to that. If somebody wants me to bring a pro-life resolution to the table, in my district, I'll do that. And if somebody, like I said, disagrees with me, I'll listen to you. And I try to keep an open mind as a JP. I try not to look down on anybody. That's one thing I've been taught in my life, is to respect people, be a good person, be a good citizen, and just be an honest person, be upfront with people. And I think you should vote for me because I try to do my best to care about everybody and to listen to everybody's concerns. And then I work hard. I stay up late at night sometimes wondering about questions on the quorum court. And I didn't, like I said earlier, I didn't realize how important a JP is. A JP is a very important elected position in this county. They vote on major decisions, and I take it seriously, and I will continue to take it seriously if I'm elected again.
Okay, James, why should I vote for you?
Sure. I think you should vote for me for experience, first of all. Again, I've had a business for 20 plus years. I've done numerous things. I've been worked in logwoods. I have cattle. I'm a landowner. I've had numerous businesses throughout the county. I've been served on numerous boards. I've worked with county budgets. I think one thing I'm proud of, when I joined the Madison County Library Association, we had 3 libraries. One was in the building that's now where they house the Genealogical Society. It's about the size of a minivan. We have the new library over there now. St. Paul was in a mobile unit of some type that our big expense for each year, we had to buy a couple of tarps because it leaked. No electricity in there. We've increased our hours in all 3 libraries. There was a lot of talk of closing the Kingston Library at that time because we didn't have the money. The first 2 years, just before I got on the board, they lost $20,000 each year. As I get to the first board meeting, they approve a budget that I haven't even seen because I'm just sworn in. We're going to lose another $18,000. So we're $60,000 under in 3 years. Very proud of the fact that after that, we're now operating on budget, within budget. We did ask the county for a voluntary tax, which still exists, but by cutting our budgets everywhere we could possibly. And you're not going to save a lot of money in something the size of a library budget, but we did trim the budget, and we asked for an additional voluntary tax. Some pay it, some don't, your choice, but we've stayed within budget on that. And so those 3 libraries have had great growth in the meantime. Again, I think it is an important position. My phone number, if you see a business card from me, my phone number, my cell phone number is on every card I give out. Call me at any point, I'll take your call or return.
Great. Well, thank you guys both for stepping out there and willing to be doing something good for our county. I know you have major issues at the quorum court. It's a big election, and I appreciate you both putting your ideas out there and meeting with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.